Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dylan Lusk, and I'll be doing your weekly weather briefing from NWS Atlanta, Peachtree City for the week of September 18th, 2025. So just a quick overview for the week ahead. A lot of yellow here, but do not fear. This is mostly just for some isolated thunderstorm chances, moving into potentially some scattered thunderstorm chances as we go into the middle and end of next week. We're not expecting any kind of severe weather with this or anything like that. We just could see some thunderstorms. It's a chance that some of those could get strong, and also with any thunderstorm we do have those lightning risks out there. So low probability of seeing any kind of risks out there, but it's not zero, so we do want to highlight that. Other than that, we're going to see warm above normal temperatures that are going to continue over the next 7 days. Looking at our latest satellite / weather pattern, it's clear out there for the most part. We got a couple of clouds that are hanging around portions of east central Georgia and some other places here and there, but for the most part things have cleared up today. We did see a little bit of fog, very shallow fog in some areas this morning, and that has already burned off as well. It should be a relatively beautiful afternoon. Highs are going to warm up into the 80s and low 90s. We could again see some isolated showers and storms that pop up during the afternoon and continue into the evening hours today. Those will be pretty isolated, pretty widely scattered overall. So you could see some rain this afternoon, you could see a thunderstorm, but chances are greater than not that it will stay dry for you in your location. Looking at the weather pattern that's out there right now for tonight and tomorrow, we do have a surface high that's going to continue to kind of promote warm conditions over the area. We did have a front that kind of tried to move through yesterday, but it's already pretty much stalled out, and we do still have some moisture sitting in place over the area. So we will continue to see basically those isolated showers and storms continue to pop up Friday afternoon and honestly into Saturday as well. Looking at rainfall potential through the middle to end of next week. Overall with this, you can see that we have a pretty, generally broad area of say like 1/4 of an inch to about 1/2 of an inch of rain across North Georgia and then going down into Central Georgia there. What we kind of want to emphasize with this is this map is not going to actually capture the areas of heavier rain that could occur with any thunderstorms. And if you remember from the beginning of the briefing, we do have pretty much every day, with the exception of say maybe Sunday, some chance in the forecast of seeing some isolated or scattered thunderstorms that pop up. Places that do see those thunderstorms could potentially get heavier rainfall than what is shown here. Simple fact of the matter is we're not quite good enough to tell you exactly where a kind of pop-up summer thunderstorm may appear 4, 5, 6 days from now. So we're not going to show something like that on the map like this. So just keep that in mind, that what you're seeing here may not be reflective of what you actually could see, especially if you end up under one of these thunderstorms that happens. Going forward, these are high temperatures for Friday and Saturday. It stays warm out there is kind of the general gist here. You can see we got temperatures in the upper 80s to lower 90s pretty much across the state, both tomorrow and Saturday. Going into Sunday and Monday, you can see our temperatures do come down a little bit. It does look like we may have what we would call a wedge or a cold air dam that will slide down the Appalachian Mountains from the northeast, slide into parts of northeastern Georgia, potentially across much of northern and central Georgia, depending on how strong it ends up being. Those typically this time of year are going to cool us down by a couple of degrees. It also can sometimes bring some drier air into the area as well. For our low temperatures tonight and tomorrow night, and honestly pretty much through the entire forecast period over the next week, we're going to see low temperatures that are going to be in the kind of like mid to upper 60s. As we go into say Saturday night, Sunday night, pretty much the same thing, mid to upper 60s. That's going to be kind of consistent through the entire forecast period. All right, moving on to the tropics, we've got two kind of areas that we're watching. The first is going to be Tropical Storm Gabrielle. Gabrielle is right now kind of in the middle of the Atlantic, and the current forecast track would basically curve it right out to sea away from pretty much any land interest. There is a chance that it could kind of sideswipe Bermuda, but that's really it. We're not expecting any impacts to the United States whatsoever, outside of the potential of maybe some like ocean swells or something that way that could reach our coastlines as it's making that curve over the next 7 days. Outside of Gabrielle, we do have that kind of yellow hatched area that you can see there. That is basically a chance that we could see a tropical wave that's coming off Africa over the next 7 days, could develop into our next tropical disturbance / tropical storm or something like that. However, it is still far too early to tell if that's going to be able to actually undergo any development. And given where it's developing, given the pattern that we have in place, decent chance that this storm would also, even if it did form, potentially curve out to sea. But we always got to keep an eye on things this time of year, just in case. That being said, the overall takeaway here is that there are no impacts to north and central Georgia expected over the next 7 days. Next thing we want to talk about is a kind of expansion of drought conditions across the state. So we did today see official drought conditions get introduced over portions of western Georgia and the western metro, Atlanta metro specifically. In many of these places, rainfall over the past 30 days has been less than 15% of average. To give you an idea of what that looks like, in Atlanta specifically, we've gotten about a half of inch of rain in the past 30 days, whereas on average we would expect to see about 4 inches of rain. So things have been pretty dry overall, unless you happen to have found yourself under one of these like isolated thunderstorms that has happened over the past couple of days. So because of this, we are starting to see drought expand a little bit. We're also having to monitor for the potential for what we call flash drought. So anytime things are a little bit warmer than average, and especially if things are a little bit drier in terms of humidity and things like that than average, we can actually see our plants will start to kind of bleed out moisture a little bit faster than they would normally otherwise. So this can lead to these flash drought conditions. We get rapid drying of those of that vegetation. There are implications in terms of like potential for wildfire, as well as potential agricultural implications for some of our farmers and folks out there. So this is something to keep in mind. But the good news with that is that if we look at the 8 to 14 day temperature and precipitation outlooks, so going to the end of the month and into early October, what we see is while we're expecting to be warmer than average during that time period, if we look over at the precipitation outlook on the right, you can see there is some indication we're kind of leaning in terms of our probability of being a little bit wetter than normal. So this doesn't guarantee that we're going to be wetter than normal. It just means that what we're seeing in the models and what we're seeing in the output that we would look at tells us that there's a chance that we could see wetter than average conditions. We are seeing the potential for some kind of storm system or something that can move through the area and give us a little bit of relief to that drought, is basically what it comes down to. So with that, that's our weekly weather briefing for the week of September 18th. Thanks so much for listening. We always appreciate it. Here's our contact information. We try to monitor all these platforms as best we can. Obviously, especially if you reach out via social media or something like that, no guarantee that we'll be able to get back to you instantly. For our partners out there, however, obviously, please, if you need us for anything, do not hesitate to reach out by phone, via email, etc., or on NWS chat, where we'll always be. So thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.